Happy Friday, everyone. It's weather for Weather Geeks time. It's Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania's most in-depth, geeky, detailed, nerdy weather forecast video, the Friday evening edition, as we get set for an unsettled weekend. First things first, of course, today was a much more humid day. The dew points started rising appreciably this morning, and they kind of leveled off in the upper 60s to around 70 this afternoon. And, you know, in our part of the country, at our latitude, we consider dew points in the upper 60s to be pretty humid. Now in Orlando, that'd be just another day. But around here, that's pretty humid stuff for our part of the country. Now that being said, even though we've had some raindrops here and there from this morning through this afternoon, overall the coverage of the showers and thunderstorms I think is a little lower than we anticipated for the second half of the day today. We have one cluster of beefy storms up near Geneva on the lake, heading over towards Ashtabula, and it's kind of riding right along Interstate 90 as of this recording at 7:08 p.m. That's kind of the only game in town. Everything else is pretty, very sparsely, spread out across the area. There's just not much activity in Northeast Ohio, Western PA. A couple of stragglers out here west of I-71 in Central Ohio. And so the coverage just does not look like it's going to be all that impressive here locally. High-Res Futurecast has a pretty good handle on the coverage of our current storms as of 7 o'clock or so. And it shows just a couple of specks out there for the next handful of hours. A lot of us are going to try to stay dry as we head through the next several hours. Passing shower will remain a possibility up through the wee hours of Saturday morning, but once the sun comes up Saturday morning, we should be largely dry then for much of the morning on Saturday. All right, Ernesto is taking aim on Bermuda. That's this little speck right here. It's the beautiful island of Bermuda, which will take almost a direct hit from Ernesto. Thankfully, it's not, Category 5 or anything like that, but Ernesto is a Category 2 with winds of about 100 miles per hour right near that eye wall. It's moving off to the northeast at about 13 miles per hour right now, as of 5 o'clock p.m. anyway. It was about 125 miles to the southwest of Bermuda, but closing in rapidly, and Ernesto will then make its track in the open waters through the northern Atlantic, becoming extra tropical as it reaches the northern Atlantic early on next week. Now, of course, no direct impacts on the mainland U.S., but certainly beachgoers will have to use some caution from the beaches of southeast Virginia right down through the Carolinas, Georgia, parts of Florida. Rip currents, rough surf. That's going to be a concern for the weekend. A lot of people, of course, in late August are still on vacation in many of those places, and they'll just have to be a little bit careful heading out into the water to take a swim. And in the meantime, back here at home, the overall severe weather risk on Saturday, highest in the yellow area. That's the level 2, slight risk, 2 out of 5. Risk of severe weather in southern Ohio, parts of Kentucky, a couple of counties in West Virginia as well. That's where the severe weather threat may be maximized on Saturday, but we have a low-end risk here locally, and most of this, I think, will be mid to late afternoon on Saturday. And while we don't think this is a big severe weather day by any stretch of the imagination, a gusty wind, perhaps some hail, and any particularly ambitious storm mid to late afternoon on Saturday. We'll have a little more in the way of sunshine on Saturday, and that will help the atmosphere become a little more unstable than today. It'll also be a little warmer than today. Most of us stopped at about 79 or 80 this afternoon. I think we'll try to climb into the mid-80s Saturday, so there'll be more instability to work with as this front approaches, and so I think the coverage will be higher as far as showers and thunderstorms during the second half of the day on Saturday. That being said, a lot of this will be pretty garden variety, but there is the possibility that some of these will be ambitious and try to bring some gusty winds and some hail. The coverage will then decrease by Saturday evening. Then a scattering of showers for Sunday. We're in kind of the wraparound zone here as this low-pressure system just sort of meanders around the Great Lakes, and that scattered shower regime will continue into Sunday night and through about midday on Monday. It's going to be a pretty gloomy start to next week on Monday morning, but the rest of next week will be anything but gloomy. I think we have lots of sunshine coming our way starting on Tuesday. So this 84 on Saturday, we won't see a number like that again for about maybe 8 or 9 or 10 days. The cool down begins on Sunday. It's still pretty muggy on Sunday, but the dew points will start dropping Monday afternoon, paving the way to just perfect weather. I mean, it's hard to find, much more to say about that, the weather for the middle of next week, other than it'll just be perfect. I mean, sunny, afternoon temperatures, lower middle 70s, overnight lows, upper 40s to around 50. A little bit of a chill in the air for early morning risers at times next week. It's a little bit of a September preview, a couple of weeks early for next week. Now, medium range thoughts here. Here's today's CPC, Climate Prediction Center outlooks for a 6 to 10 day period, the 8 to 14 day period, and weeks 3 and 4. What we want to take away from these maps, here's the 6 to 10 day period showing the lack of warmth in the eastern U.S. Now, I do think the warmth will try to return at the end of the month and into early September. At this point, I don't think it's a blowtorch pattern. It's not going to be a pattern that produces a lot of 90s, I don't think. But I think we do have middle 80s in our future at the end of the month, and perhaps in the first couple of days of September, and of course the end of August, early September. Usually that's Canfield Fair time, that's Labor Day weekend time, and that's the case this year as well. In fact, 2 weeks from today we'll be at the fair. So the end of the month certainly has a chance to get pretty toasty, but it doesn't look like anything to write home about at this point. No, it's just going to be a lot warmer, I think, than it will be next week, when it's going to be, again, a little bit of a September preview. Hope you have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks tonight and all week long as we made our comeback after some time away. Stay weather aware Saturday afternoon if you have outdoor plans. We'll keep you updated on social media, on the Storm Tracker 21 app as well. Have a great weekend again. I'll see you back here on Monday.